Hey guys, I'm Daniel Norton here in my home in New York, and today we're going to talk about colored gels. So I get lots of questions about using color, and you see us do it a lot, especially in live streams where we're changing the background color, or I just did a video with an egg where I showed you how to cross the colors and create colored shadows. Check that out if you haven't seen it already. But today I'm going to talk about color temperature gels. Color temperature orange, also called CTO, and color temperature blue, also called CTB. These are used to very precisely correct light or adjust light. When you're looking at a light source, right, it's going to have a color temperature. That color temperature is usually referred to in a Kelvin scale. So you might see like 5500 K, right? That's Kelvin. And where you'd fall on that scale is from warm to cool, or from orange to blue, basically, if you want to think about it like that. So these gels, the color temperature orange and color temperature blue gels, help adjust your light to either match other things, which is a very common way to use it, or just to get a different effect if you want. And it's much more precise and much more repeatable and much more consistent in a sense to do this than to just like throw a blue gel on a light. Because with this, like for instance, if I'm using a light source and I know it's 5500 Kelvin and I put this on, right, this gel is designed actually to go onto a light that's 3200 and move it to 55. So that adds, 23. So if I put it on one that's 5500, it's going to make my light 7800, which is going to make it very, very blue, right? Because the higher the number, the bluer it is. So if I want to blue out stuff, I can put this on a normal light, a flash, right? Or I could do it the way you're supposed to do it, which is put it on a warm light source, like a light bulb, right? Like an incandescent bulb, and it will neutralize it. Or probably more common for photographers is we end up with using these orange gels, right? You walk into a situation in somebody's house, let's say, and they don't have like LED bulbs, they have like old-fashioned warm light bulbs or just warm LED bulbs. And you use a flash and you're exposing, white balance wise for the flash, and the room itself just looks too warm, for your taste. You can put this on to your flash, it will make it warmer, and then you'll just white balance against the whole thing and you'll get neutral light. And this is the reason why, especially like I was just mentioning there, that they come in different flavors, right? So you've got full, which does exactly what I said. This one goes from 3200 to 55. This one goes from 55 to 32, so they're opposites, right? You've also got halves, quarters, eighths. So you can do them in between, right? You can do it because maybe you want the room to seem a little bit warm. You don't want to make the room completely flat, but it's too warm for you. So you can really kind of adjust and go in between. And kind of to show you how this works, I'm just going to set up, this is the most basic lighting setup. It's not a very good lighting setup for like portraits the way it is. I'm literally just going to light from both sides of my face so that you get we can divide the two lights, and we'll show you what the two colors do and how it works. So I'm in Capture One. We've done this before. I'm using Capture Pilot, which is basically an app that allows me to control my camera. I'm just going to log into it here so I can do that, and we'll be able to take a photo without having to remotely basically. So let's do a quick shot. These are Profoto A1s fitted with the diffuser. Okay, so here we go. We have the image, right? It's just very basic. You can see it divides my face, fairly evenly. That way we can kind of see what the different gels will do. Essentially, you can see down here your Kelvin scale. When we shoot, right, if I move this around, right, we're basically going to go, up and down here. You'll see, and we'll change it, right? I can do it here clearly, but we're going to do it with light. And the reason why you would do it with light is because you want to be able to do it on each one of your individual lights, right? If I only did it in post-production, right, what I would get is the whole scene would change. And I don't necessarily want that, right? What I want is to change the lights, individually. So let's start, I'll just start with the blue. So let's say, take this blue. I'm going to put a color temperature blue on this light, and I'm going to turn the power up because of course a gel eats light. And we're going to leave the other light the way it is. We're going to leave everything the way it is. I'm just going to put this gel on there and let's see what it does. Okay, cool. So we can see here that, again, it would exactly what you thought it would do. It made the side of my face blue. Let's now add the orange gel. Again, I'm just going to add the orange gel, and then I'm going to turn the power up to compensate. Cool. and we'll take a shot like that. All right, there you go. Now we've got one half of my face is cool, the other half is very orange, and you know, if we look at all three images, we can see what we've got. Of course, let's do a fourth image. We'll take the blue off. So that way we're just gonna go, so we'll go neutral, just blue, both, and then just orange. Again, I'm turning the power down again when I do this. Good. The idea is to get some consistency so I can kind of show you guys. Okay. Okay, so here we are, right? Neutral. One side blue. One side blue, one side orange, and then just one side orange, right? So what this tells us is that we can play around with our color using just these two gels. We can get a lot of different combinations. Like for instance, if I come over here where we just have the orange gel and I correct for it, for lack of a better word, I basically bring the white balance down, right, to about 3200. What we get is, again, neutral over here, and then the one side of my face is blue. We created blue, right, with orange, because we just corrected away the orange, and then it went blue, because that's the opposite color. You know, the same is true on the blue one. If we take the blue one, right, and we go the other direction to about 7800, roughly, what we're going to get is a warm side, right? Now we're neutral here, and this side is warm. We'll zip this guy out for a second, right? And let's take a peek, right? We're basically looking at cool, warm, created by the opposites, right? Does that make sense? And what we can do, okay, so that's fine. So just in theory, right, if you were to go and say, okay, listen, I want, and let's say we're talking about the room that, that was very warm. If you wanted that whole room to be cool, you could add a ton of orange to your flash. You could take this gel and put it over like 3 times to make it super orange, then adjust for it, and the room would actually go from being warm to cool. You could do that, right? Because all you're doing is adjusting away. And because it's a number system, you know, I mean, there are limits to it, of course, but you can definitely make it work, you know, to a very good extent. But let's play around a tiny bit. So we've got this one now that's half and half, right? What happens when we say, all right, you know what? Let's correct away the orange. That's too much, of course. So if we correct away the orange, now the blue gets really intense, right? It's much more intense than when we just shot with the blue. I think it was this one, right? Right, here's just shooting with the blue. Here's shooting with both and then correcting down, right? We're basically multiplying our ability to change color because we're kind of, again, using the opposites against each other. So this is kind of an interesting way to show it. Let me show you as a profile shot, because I think that's maybe even more obvious. So I'm going to put this blue gel back up. Let's give me more power. And I'll come in here. And kind of like that. I was looking down. So, okay, I'm crazy blue, right? I'm crazy blue because I'm set at 3200. So I'm going to dial back to that place where it starts to look normal again, around 7800 it was, I think, for me. Yeah, and now look at my hair, right? My hair is super, super warm in color. My hair is super warm because, again, it's not just the warming gel, it's the blue dialed back, making this warm. In fact, if I take this warming gel off, and then I take another shot, Now, of course, Capture One is set up to automatically use the last thing I did, so it automatically, if you look at my color temperature, it's at 79. You can see that my hair has a bit of a warm tone, and actually you can see the dividing place here, right? See, look, you got warm, and then it goes to that's the natural color of my hair, right? So even just with the one gel, we can do that, right? Just the one gel can make it warm. And if we were able to, let's try this. If we take this blue gel and we double it up, I think it'll cover all this. I'm not going to get it full double on the whole thing, but we should be able to get most of it covered. Like that. I mean, the better way to do this would be to put it right up against the head, but of course we're kind of on the fly. Now that's going to eat light, so I'm going to add, hopefully this is enough power. Give it a shot. Okay, right, so look at how blue it is. Now let me put in another, a couple thousand. Oof. That's looking better. And now my hair is super, super crazy orange, right? So you can definitely double up gels and use them that way. So remember that these things, this is what gives this power over just using a blue gel or an orange gel, is that they do correspond and work together. So you can take your gels, let's go back to our original example where we're using both gels, so now let's go the other way, right? We can take our gels. Now I'm going to spin this way, right? Well, let me put that guy back on. I'm going to put on my So I've dialed them both back up, and now I'm going to look towards the warming gel. Okay, so, right, I'm crazy warm because, again, Capture One's keeping the old setting, but let me just go here and type in 3200. Boom, right? Now, skin tone is normal, and look at how blue my hair is. It's like crazy blue, right? There we go. Okay, we can see here now, shot with blue gel, both gels, but corrected for the blue gel, right? Shot with both gels, but corrected for the orange gel. And what we've got is this kind of really controllable saturated color in both directions. And really the lighting is the same. It just comes down to using the color correction gel and then correcting for it in a sense, And like I said, you can use it the right way, of course. If the light in the room is very warm, you can put a warming gel on and correct for it. If the light in the room is very cool, you can put a blue gel on and correct for it. But knowing how they kind of intersect and work together can be really powerful because it can allow you to actually give saturation, add that little bit of kind of a cool like highlight on the side of the face because you throw a gel kind of on the kicker, It doesn't have to be so over the top. Of course, I'm really making it extreme so you guys can see it, but a little hint of color somewhere, maybe on your fill light so your shadows go a little bit blue or shadows go a little bit warm. It can just be a really fun way to create some ambiance and depth to your images without having to go too crazy or doing all kinds of crazy things in post, right? You can kind of add that flavor as you go. And what it comes down to is knowing that color temperature is basically just a number scale, up and down, right? That goes from on the low end, you're warm, to your high end is going to be cool, and using that to your advantage when you're putting gels on your lights. You put warm gels on the lights and then you correct against them, it will make everything cool. If you put warm gel on the light and you don't correct against it, it'll make your flash warm, right? So you can play with that as well too. I mean, clearly, if I just wanted my hair to be warm, I could just remove this, dial back down. And again, I'm just dialing down because the gel eats light. So you always need to keep that in mind. Right, and then there we go, right? Oh, double chop. So here, we basically have no gel on the flash. So if I go back to 55, we can see that my skin tone is good and my hair has that orange glow to it. Simple as that, right? That warm glow, you know. Let's say that you're making a portrait of somebody near a window and it's supposed to be like the end of the day, but you know, and warm and the beautiful sunset going on, but it's a cloudy day or it's the wrong side of the building. You can throw a gel out there, a gelled light out there, I should say, and throw some warmth on there and it'll have that feeling, right? You can create it, you can simulate it. And just color throws emotion, right? People relate emotion to color, you know. Warmth or coolness really affects how your portrait or your fashion image or whatever, even your product images work, right? You want to make a picture of, you know, scrambled eggs on a plate, right? Throw a little bit of warm light at it because that's like the morning, right? The morning light is coming through the window, it's on the scrambled eggs, right? That will really help adjust the shot and make it have some real depth and feeling. So go ahead and subscribe to Adorama TV, guys, and ring the bell so you get all the notifications for future videos. Follow me here on YouTube, Daniel Norton Photographer, and I'll see you next time on set.